Hello everyone. Let us get started with C++ certification training. We shall look at what are type arguments, type parameters and constraints. So the topics that we are going to cover are what are parameters, what are arguments. These terms are used interchangeably sometimes. Then we will look at default parameter, concept of multiple parameter. We will look at type of argument passing, and then we look at pass by value and pass by reference. So what are type parameter and type argument? Let's start a discussion with these concepts. So here, what are parameters? Parameters are the values that get passed to a function when calling a function. The parameters are specified after the function name inside the circle, parenthesis or bracket, you might call it. So syntactically, you have a function name, the return type and the parameter. 1, 2, and 3. We also specify the type of the parameter, whether it is integer or double or any other data type that is available in the programming language. And inside that we have the code that gets executed. So basically parameters are passed to a function. Now we can pass variable number of arguments in a function of different data types separated by comma. As you can see here, they are separated by comma. So let me move on to the next slide. So let's look at this example here, parameter and argument. So I have a method here which is named person. It is taking a string argument and the name of that argument is fname, right? Inside the main, I have a call to a function with the value aria pass, here Sansa, and here Bran, right? Now f is the, or rather fname is a parameter name here, and these are the arguments that are getting passed. So in this function, a person is a function name, as I've already explained to you, that takes string called fname as parameter. When this function is called inside the main method, first name is passed, which is used to print the name here, right? So that name gets printed here. So let's try it out with an example. So this is my lab VM. Here I will create the program to explain the concept. So I will first say int main method, open close bracket, and here I'll simply say return 0, 0, right? I'm not doing anything great just now. Now let's go ahead and create a method. So I'll keep the same name as person, right? It is accepting an argument string fname. Let me also go ahead and say using namespace std, right? Now I'll open and close this function with a curly braces, and inside this I'm going to say c out of fname and then endl, right? Now inside the main method, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this method, right? So let's call this. For that we have to pass argument to it. So what I'm doing is I'm passing an argument cpp to that function. So what will happen, this cpp will get passed to fname and that is displayed here, right? So let me clear this and try to run this program and see what happens. So I'll go to build, I'll say run, and I'll say build and execute, and you can see the output as cpp. I'll press enter to continue. Like this, you can pretty much call this particular method as many times as you want by passing argument to it. So let's say I put here Java, right? Now it will display me CPP and Java. So let's run this once again. I'll go to build, I'll say run, and I'll say build and execute. This time you will come here, there is a window, the output is CPP and Java. I'll press enter and continue. So that was regarding argument passing to a function. Now let's move on. Now there is a concept of default parameter as well. So default parameter is a concept wherein if you look at this program again here, there is a method country. Here I have specified a default value, and when I'm calling a country with value US or USA, that value will get assigned to it and that will be displayed here. But in case I don't pass any value, as you can see in this particular case, I'm not passing any value. So in that case, the value of default country or this variable name is going to be India, and it will display as India. So let us try this with an example. So I'll go to my lab VM. So I'll come here. I will use the same program and I'll make it here equal to, let's say, CPP, right? Now, in case I don't pass any argument to it, let's say this is the case where I'm not passing any argument to this particular method, which is a person here, right? I mean, although I'm using a function name as person, I'm giving the name of programming language. You can use pretty much any other string since this is a string data type. So let me just comment this one first and try to run this program and see what happens. I'll say build, then I'll say run, and I will say build and execute. If I'll go here in the output, you will see the output is CPP. That is the default value which has been used, right? Which is this value. Now, in case I comment this one out and I run the method with the value as Java. So what will happen now, in this case, this will get assigned to fname, right? So let me try to run the program once again with the Java value. I'll say build, I'll say run, and I'll say build and execute, and you will see the output as Java here, right? Because that is the value that we are passing. So that was regarding the default parameters. Let's move on. So then there is a concept of multiple parameters. In this case, what you can do is you can pass more than one parameter. So this will get assigned to string, this will get assigned to integer. So like in the earlier case, there was a person with a single parameter string. You can have multiple parameter passed as well to a given function. Now let's look at the concept of argument passing. Now argument passing is the concept of passing value from one function maybe to another function. So we are going to look at passing value from main method maybe to another method which we will define, right? So there are two ways to do it. One is pass by value and another one is pass by reference. So what is pass by value? Now in the case of pass by value, it does not affect changes into the parent function or the calling function. So if main is calling the method and if you have some value a here, let's say for example, if you make any change in the value which is passed to the method, the value of a will not change. Whereas in the case of pass by reference, the change is reflected. So let us understand this more clearly with the help of an example. So let me head over to next slide and then I will explain this with an example in my lab VM. So when we pass values by using pass by value concept to a function, then any change made in the function to the values are not reflected in the calling function. So here main is the calling function, right? So this is calling function, and this is the function which is getting called. So I have a number 10, another number 20 before I display the value, and I'll get the output as 10 and 20 as you can see here on the right side. I pass these two values to a swap method and this is passed by value. So this gets assigned to this gets assigned to this, right? Now when I pass by value, here I'm swapping the values. After that I display them, so values will become 20 and 10. But when the control will come back here and we try to display the value again, it is still 10 and 20, meaning that pass by value does not reflect change in the parent function. So in this case, this is a parent function or the calling function. So let us try to understand this concept with the help of an example. For that, I'll head over to my VM. So let's try out that example. Okay, so let's start with typing our code. So I'll create a method void swapping. You can give it any name you want. Inside this, I'll open and first close bracket. Now I'll say here int x comma int y, for example, and here I'll say int temp equals to x, right? X equals to y. Sorry, this is x equal to y. So I'm going to make it as x equals to y, and then y equals to temp, right? So basically this is a simple swapping program, a very simple program to swap the values, right? Now after that, let me also display the value of x and y. So I'll say cout. I will say x equals to x. I'll say endl, right? And let me copy and paste this line here, and I'll make it y for now, for the second value to get displayed, right? So this is the swapping method for me. Now here, let me remove this. I don't need this in this particular example. I'll create two variables, int a equal to 10 and int b equal to 20 maybe. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to display value of a and b. So for that I'll copy this here, right? And I will make it as a, and I will make it as a here, and I'll make it b here, and I'll also make it b here. So far so good. Now let's try to call this swapping. I will copy and paste it here and put it here, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this method with value a and then with value b, right? So there has to be a single comma, and after the swapping I'll try to display the values once again, right? So let me copy and paste this and put it underneath here, and let us try to run this program. But before we do that, conceptually we know that what is going to happen in this case is that uh, a and b has 10 and 20, so it will display 10, 20. Then this method will get called here. X will have value 10 and y will have value 20, right? So let me clear this. So x is having value 10, y is having value 20. Here swap happens, and then internally after the values is swapped, here it will become as swapped values, and when the control comes back we'll have the original values. So let me quickly run this program. Let me clear this and let me run this program and see what happens. So let's go here in the output, and the output is 1020, that is AB, and after the swapping, which inside the swapping method it is 2010, and outside again in the main method it is 10 and 20, right? So let me come back here. So we have seen that in the case of pass by value, although the values got changed within inside this function, right, but the change is not reflected outside of the function. So this concept is known as pass by value. Then we have another concept to understand, which is pass by reference. So let us first look at the slide and then we'll come back again here. So now what is pass by reference? So in this particular case, if you will see here, when the values are getting passed, here we specify ampersands also, right? So this is a concept of pass by reference. This is basically ampersand value 1 and value 2 are called reference variables. So now if you are using reference variable to swap the values, the change will be reflected in the calling method or function as well. So let me head over to my VM to explain this. So let me clear my drawing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change here to ampersand and ampersand, right? Now let's again run this program. I'll say build, I'll say run, and I'll say build and execute. So let's go and see the output. Now it is initially 1020 inside the method 2010, and after returning from the method also the value is 2010. So this is our concept of pass by reference. In that case, what happens? The values are also modified in the calling function, which in this case is main method. So that is regarding pass by reference. Moving on, this is to summarize the discussion, is that at the end of this session, you should be able to understand what are arguments and parameters, right? These are the terms which we make use of interchangeably. Arguments or parameters are the values which we pass to a function. Then we have seen a function having default parameter or a function being called with multiple parameters. And then we have also seen type of argument passing, which is pass by value and pass by reference. So to summarize, we have seen what are parameters, what are arguments, what is pass by value, and what is pass by reference. That's all in this discussion. Thank you so much for your time.